the Houston Texans traded DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals. And, oh my gosh. Here's what happened in the trade. The Cardinals got star receiver DeAndre Hopkins and a 2020 fourth-round pick. The Texans got running back David Johnson, a 2020 second-round pick, and a 2021 fourth-round pick. So the Texans and the Cardinals swapped fourth-round picks. The Texans got a second-round pick, and they swapped a running back for a receiver. This trade, to me, is mind-boggling. I have no idea what in the world Bill O'Brien, the Houston Texans, is doing. I very rarely am this critical and this harsh of somebody. I don't get it. I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense. So Bill O'Brien is not only the head coach of the Houston Texans, he also operates as their general manager, meaning he's the guy, he's the top executive in the team making all the football decisions. He needs to give up some control and hire a general manager. He does. Which, by the way, he will never do. When's the last time you heard a guy willingly give up power? It's very, very rare to hear of a guy say, hey, you know the powerful position I have? Let me just give up some of that power to someone else. He's never going to do that. It's not going to happen unless he's about to be fired. The only way Bill O'Brien ever hires a general manager is if the ownership of the Houston Texans says, hey, if you don't hire a general manager, we are going to fire you. That's the only way that ever happens. I have never seen, oh my gosh. The DeAndre Hopkins move is awful for so many reasons. Let me go through all of them. And first of all, let's dispel, as dispel is the word I was looking for. Let's make it very clear and myth bust a myth that's going around out there saying, people keep saying, oh, the Texans made this move because they're trying to get rid of cap space. They're trying to free up cap space for their team. But they didn't. The Houston Texans do not have really much more at all cap space than they did before. DeAndre Hopkins counts as $12.5 million against the salary cap. And David Johnson, the guy they traded for, counts as just over $11 million towards the salary cap. Which means that this trade with Houston and Arizona, all it did was give Houston about $1.5 million more of salary cap space. $1.5 million to get rid of DeAndre Hopkins. Doesn't make any sense. And let me be, I know $1.5 million really would change my life. It would really change your life. In the scheme of an NFL salary cap, it's not that much money. It's just not that, it's not that big a deal. It's like a blip on the radar for an NFL team. And what's even crazier, it didn't free up salary cap space, and the Houston Texans didn't get a first-round pick. They did not get a first-round pick from this deal. When you trade a star receiver, you get a first-round pick. That's how it works in the NFL generally. Odell Beckham Jr. was traded. Hey, that trade included a first-round pick. Or Amari Cooper was traded. That trade included a first-round pick. Or Stephon Diggs, that trade with Buffalo included a first-round pick. What did Houston not get? Oh, they didn't even get a first-round pick. It makes no sense. So here's what happened. And by the way, DeAndre Hopkins is a better receiver than Stephon Diggs and Odell Beckham Jr. and Amari Cooper. He's better than all three of those guys, and those teams got a first-round pick while Houston did not. What is wrong with the world? I don't understand. I mean, I know what's wrong. There's a beer bug going around, and people can't even leave their houses. Sorry, bad joke. Sorry. So the Texans did not get a good draft pick, and they didn't clear up salary cap space. So what did Houston get? What did they really get out of this trade? Here's what Houston got. They got David Johnson, a 28-year-old running back who, has a few more miles left on the tires. Fair enough. David Johnson is not a bum. He's not useless tomorrow. And he's actually a good receiver out of the backfield, too. He's a running back who can catch passes, and he brings that to the offense. That's pretty good. But not only are David Johnson's numbers going down, here's the thing. I don't even care about David Johnson. Let's just talk about trading a receiver for a running back. Trading a receiver for a running back goes against everything we currently know about the NFL. I mean, the current belief among NFL teams is that a running back isn't that valuable. They're fine, but receivers are way more valuable than running backs. A receiver has a lot more value than a running back. And I do not understand. There's no way Houston couldn't have gotten a better offer. Houston, if they just waited and looked at all their options, could have gotten a way better offer than they did. Look at what Buffalo gave to Minnesota for Stephon Diggs. Are you telling me Houston couldn't have done better? We'll talk about that trade in a minute. But the Tennessee Titans gave their quarterback a massive contract. They refused to give Derrick Henry. The Titans would not give Derrick Henry, their running back, who's the best running back in the entire NFL, and who's only 26 years old, and just turned 26 in January. Derrick Henry's a young running back. The Titans wouldn't even give Derrick Henry a long-term contract. What that tells the world is, NFL teams don't value the running back position very much. There's not a lot of belief that their health and their success is going to be very lasting. They believe it's temporary for a running back. The Titans won't give Derrick Henry a long-term contract. Derrick Henry. But Bill O'Brien still believes that trading DeAndre Hopkins, a really talented, one of the best receivers in the entire NFL, for David Johnson was a good decision. What kind of world do we live in? And I get it. A lot of people, the only possible argument you can make if you're a Houston fan trying to be an apologist for your team is if you say, well, having a great receiver does not necessarily guarantee you're going to win games. Yeah, but neither does a running back. Ezekiel Elliott is a great running back with the Dallas Cowboys. They went 8-8. Or the New York Giants have an incredible running back, Saquon Barkley. They went 4-12 last year. A running back doesn't guarantee you victory any more than a receiver does. They're just weapons. They're good to have, but they're not necessarily the end-all be-all. But receivers are a lot more valuable than running backs because of the way the league is structured, because of the rules in the NFL. The rules of the NFL right now make it easier for quarterbacks and receivers. Their value is skyrocketed. Running back value has gone down. Yeah, the Texans, oh my gosh, they lost this trade big time. I don't understand. They didn't get a first-round pick. They didn't really get much more. They got $1.5 million more of salary cap space. That's nothing. And they got a worse player. I don't understand how anybody could possibly feel good if you're a Houston fan. Houston massively, massively botched this trade. Now, it's really good for the Arizona Cardinals. They already had a running back they liked, Kenyon Drake. They didn't really have a use for David Johnson, so they got rid of David Johnson, and they got DeAndre Hopkins for almost for free. Like, I really cannot believe that the Arizona Cardinals robbed the Houston Texans. I don't know if they had blackmail on them. I don't know what happened. I don't know why the Houston Texans would ever agree to this trade. But, man, good on the Arizona Cardinals. Highway robbery. They stole DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans. I cannot believe it. I really, straight up, I don't understand how this happened at all. I just have never seen anything like it. Did the Texans not ask other teams, hey, we had DeAndre Hopkins. Can we get a lot for him? Teams would have given up a lot to get DeAndre Hopkins. But for whatever reason, the deal they took was this horrible deal with the Arizona Cardinals. Good for the Cardinals, bad for the Texans. I will never understand what happened in this trade and how the decision was made to make this happen. But the Houston Texans massively, massively botched this trade. In case you don't know, Strong Opinion Sports is not just a YouTube channel. It is also a full audio podcast. You can find it on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, pretty much everywhere you find podcasts. And if you like podcasts, please do me a huge favor and give it a listen.